Welcome to the Coast to Coast podcast, brought to you by Play Picks and the Lines. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by my guy Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. And we are looking at Game 5, coming back to me in the Bay as the Dubs did secure that win in Game 4 based on the play of Steph Curry with those 43 points, heroic efforts. We did say before that game, the Dubs will need a heroic effort from Steph Curry to win, which was the understatement of a lifetime. We were trying to say he needs to score 40-plus points. He did so, and that is why we are all knotted up on the way back here to the Bay for this one. Make sure you do like and subscribe to that page. We've also got our player props video up there for you, where we check out about 4 or 5 different player props that we do like in this one. Also want you to head to thelines.com, where Nathan's company have some great content on there for you, all the written content that you could like for the NBA, and we got plenty of MLB stuff going on right now as well, so I want you to check that out. And as always, if you do still need a FanDuel or DraftKings account, head to ftpicks.com or dkpicks.com. Find those listings in your area, such as what we've got for Game 5. Nate, let's get into it.
Warriors open at -3.5. They're now -4, getting a little bit of steam here after Steph's ridiculous performance. And the total's at 212. And the Celtics, I mean, everyone knows the storyline of whether they turn it over 16 plus times or whatever it is, and how much of an impact that has on the series. And yes, it does. And yes, it's going to be even more of a factor on the road, where they struggled in that second game and turned it over a total of 30 times in the first 2 games of this finals. But I think the bigger issue for me, if betting on the Celtics, is how bad they've been in close games. And that goes back since they became this juggernaut in mid-January, when they just didn't play any close games. I think they had like 15 clutch minutes the entire rest of the regular season, because they were just crushing teams. And in these playoffs, it's come home to roost. I mean, they have pulled out 7 out of 12 games in clutch situations, but they have a -14 offensive rating. I mean, net rating, and they have the 4th worst offensive rating of any team, including 3 teams that were knocked out in the first round. So 89 is their offensive rating, and the Warriors' offensive rating in the half court, something like 85 for the series. So right away, that jumps out to me to take another under, which we are on last game. I just think one with the first and second best defense out there, as the series wears on and there are more adjustments made and there's more physical play that the refs continue to kind of let go, you're allowed to just like put a chicken wing on your man all the way to the court, all the way to the hoop, and it doesn't get called. Nothing's getting called. Steph was so exasperated. And I think that is probably the Celtics' path to success, is chasing Curry off the 3-point line and then capitalizing on that, because it's not being called either way. And you can with Time Lord back there, as who's expected to play, it's going to be a lot tougher for Steph to make contested twos, to get that floater game going. You know, easier said than done, and easier done in one half than in throughout the entire game. But so heroic performance from Steph absolutely required, because the rest of the Warriors, when he shot 7 for 14 from 3, they were 8 for 29 in Game 4. They're just simply not going to get it done. Clay, even with 25 points, still a -3 in that game. Still not the same defensive presence that he has been in past. And the Celtics did unlock some things in terms of going at Poole and Curry in Game 3 and keeping their offense moving. And they were able to perform in the clutch, or, at least hold off the Warriors after they made it a close game in Game 3. So it's not to say that they're just going to completely fold if they get into another close game here. But they're going to need contributions up and down the roster. They're going to need to prove that they are the better team overall. And that means Marcus Smart making shots. That means Jaylen Brown playing a consistent 4 quarters. And, of course, means Tatum capitalizing on his matchups. There's a lot of talk about how Nemanja Bjelica was able to hold Tatum 0 for 4 into 2 turnovers, and I hope he gets that matchup again, because that was a tiny sample size. I don't think Bjelica's going to hold up guarding Tatum.
Do you see how happy you made me talking about Bjelica?
Yeah, let's just get him out there first. Important player in the finals. But the point is, Tatum, unless he's really hurt, there shouldn't be anything stopping him from getting 30 against this team. Andrew Wiggins has done a pretty good job, but Luka cracked him for sure down in the last 2 games of that series. He's not an individual stopper. And at times the Warriors have no rim protection. We expect more Kevon Looney than his 28 minutes in game 4, but he's still not a leaper. He's still not somebody who's going to stop you from getting all the way to the rim. And it's interesting that Udoka said in the press conference that Tatum maybe needs to take a few more mid-range shots and pull up and not go all the way to the rim. And I just don't know why you'd say that publicly if you want him to do that. So I think we will actually see an aggressive Tatum. Obviously, we're going to see an aggressive Jaylen Brown. And Marcus Smart, with his irrational confidence, is going to be very aggressive and trying to get Curry in foul trouble, trying to wear him down. And that's the Celtics' path to victory. I mean, it's on those 3 guys and the health of Rob Williams. Whether I see it happening or not, I don't feel like I'm qualified at this point. My emotions are too invested. I would love to see them win, but I think the Warriors honestly probably win a game in the single digits, 10 points or less, because the Celtics are just too young and not ready to perform with the stakes this high.
Yeah, well, firstly, I wanted to say how, I think Udoka's comments about wanting more mid-range shots from Tatum, it's like, that would be like if Belichick was like, we're going to run a few more designed runs for Tom Brady. And it's like, we know you're not going to do that. Why are you even saying that? Like, we know that the game plan is you don't want him taking more mid-range shots. That makes no sense. I like his 3-pointer prop, actually. I think Tatum's going to continue to shoot that amount of threes, and I think you can expect him to get more than 4, which is a good prop that you can get on DK there at plus money. Talk about in the props video as well. But I think that's indicative of how he's going to continue to play. I do think you expect the trend to continue, I guess, right? Like it's back and forth. The thing is the trend of Tatum now having another nice game and the C's winning. I think also correlates, especially coming back here in game 5 to the Bay, where the Dubs just play so much better on offense. That's the only reason I'm scared of an under. I fully subscribe to the religion that in the playoffs, especially in the finals at this point, that you've got to hit unders, because even if you're like on target to hit an over going into the 4th quarter, you just got to expect less than 50 points scored in that 4th quarter, which is not the norm for an NBA basketball game. You set a line for like bad offenses at like 50 to 52 points in a quarter, and it's just not the regular season. This is a different ball game, and 2 defenses that are going to be going crazy, 2 teams that at least one team seems to sort of, tense up at least one quarter in a game. And that's when they lose the game, to be honest. And that was the 3rd quarter for the C's, even though it was close in the 4th, it wasn't close enough. And clutch time, as we talked about, and you mentioned how bad the C's have been, really, and how even though they've won 7 of 12 games where they played in clutch time, some of those games were, against teams that just weren't of the same caliber of them in the first 3 rounds of the playoffs, especially the Heat. And in game 4, it was really indicative. Once again, the Celtics didn't score a point in clutch time. As we sort of bounced in and out of clutch time there was 5-point lead, 7-point lead, whatever. 15-0 in clutch time in game 4. It's that 15 points as well that just that crushes them. You mentioned that the Dubs offensive rating in the half court is at 84 for the series, which is not good. But to be very clear for those who don't understand, 84 points per 100 possessions is not good. 125 in transition. So when the Dubs are in transition, they're scoring because they're losing shooters, and even when they pop out late, sort of off balance, guys are getting to the rim for the Dubs. So that's also really indicative of the fact that points off turnovers. It is about that. It is about the. It's not just the Celtics getting those turnovers. It's what the Dubs do with it. As we know, pretty much the best team when it comes to scoring in transition off of turnovers and live turnovers, which means you're just going the other way, probably with an outnumbered, or you are outnumbering them on offense on the fast break. 52 points off turnovers in 2 games and their wins, and 22 points in the 2 losses that they had combined. Right. So that tells you a huge story right there. You can't throw up all over yourselves, as you like to say about the Celtics. I believe in them here more than you do. Let me go ahead and put you on my back and tell you that I think you should feel good about them in this game. They are the better team. And we said in game 4 ahead of time, they were going to need Steph to go bananas, because they were there's nothing on offense for them right now. Now, Clay is what he is. And that's fine. 18 to 22 points for Clay is going to be what you're going to get. Maybe we get a random game 6 Clay game or something like that in the last 3. I'm not going to not predict that, but I would say you're best to just guess him in that 18 to 22 range, which his player point prop is at 19.5, which makes perfect sense. I think that's, as our friend Mo would say, fair. So I don't know if I really want to hit that. But I do think that you know now what you expect from Clay, which means 18 to 22. And now if you're getting 18 from Wiggins, which God bless Wiggins is playing amazing, second best Warrior in this series. He and Looney are really close, but he's playing a lot more minutes and being asked to do a lot more. So Wiggins is easily their second best player in this series. You're going to continue to get 18, maybe 20 points from him. His ceiling and scoring in this series is going to continue to be maybe 22 points at the most. But right then you're talking about, well, who's that other guy? And Poole's not going to get enough minutes. You cannot trust him. I did feel good about his props in the last game, which is what I told everyone to hit, and it hit because he was going to get 20 to 25 minutes. I knew that Kerr had to find offense somewhere, and that's what we're now going to continue to see. I think he coached really, really well in that last game. Everyone talks about him taking out Draymond at the end there, which was crucial. He also started to go with an offense-defense sort of transition lineup, subbing in and out, basically in the middle of the third quarter, was because he knows he can't play Jordan Poole for long stretches of time. The young man just gets it in his head that he is Steph Curry, and he's not yet, so he cannot be doing those things, which all leads you to go like, it's going to be slow. So I'm scared of the over because I do think that, once again, hitting an under, because I think you could get another, a first half that gets maybe 115 points or so. But either way, once I get to the middle-ish end of the third quarter, where there's been a good, we've been seeing a barrage of points every third quarter, mostly from the Warriors. But either way, we've had some high scoring third quarters. Then I'm going to hit my live under, which I continue to talk about. I'm going to hit my live under. I might hit it in the first quarter, in the second quarter, if we get those. Like I said, if we're looking at a first half that has around 115 points and you see a total get up to about 220, 225, man, I'm going to love hitting that under. And then once we get into the third quarter, if we have another barrage like we did in this last third quarter, then I'm going to feel really good about hitting that under live again, because that fourth quarter is going to continue to see 45, 46 point fourth quarters, even less, 43 point fourth quarters that you can feel good about hitting an under before you get there. So that's what I feel best about. But I think our game theory is pretty right on. And if everything goes according to, like, not completely out of the norm, like Steph Curry having the most heroic game that we've seen from him in the finals, then the Celtics should win this game. And I feel pretty good about them on the money line.
No, I mean, you've emboldened me a little bit, at least. The thing I feel most confident about is the Celtics not losing by double digits. I don't think you can blow this team out. I know in game 2 that did happen. The third quarter got really out of hand. But I don't think that they're going to go down with a whimper like that. I think even if they're trailing big, they're going to come back, make it a game, or they're going to be ahead and they're going to kind of give it away at some point. But that's why I think a teaser works. It's just I don't know which direction you want to tease it in. It's still a very competitive total in either direction. One bet that I do like, and it has nothing to do with who wins the game, is just Steph Curry to be the leading scorer at minus 125. And
give me that.
I mean, Tatum is next at plus 230. He's still dealing with a shoulder injury. The Celtics are so much more balanced, and they're not necessarily at their best when he's getting 30. They're at their best when he's getting 7+ assists, and they're playing as a team, and everybody's getting good looks. So I think Steph, who has to do absolutely everything for this team offensively, is almost a lock to do that, to get 30+ and to lead this game in scoring. And he's minus 160 to be Finals MVP right now at FanDuel. That seems like a lock to me too. I think, even if the Celtics win this series, if I had a vote, I would vote for Steph Curry at this point. He's out there LeBroning. I told you, like, this is like 2015 LeBron, where he's playing the better team, but he is better, more experienced, and more poised than that better team, which may or may not be ready yet. In 2015, the Warriors had enough to take down LeBron. I don't know about the Celtics team in terms of their. I mean, they've answered the bell at every point thus far. 7-0 following a loss. I want to believe that trend will continue. It's going to be a tough environment, but if you do believe, then you can go ahead and hit the Celtics in 6 at plus 300 still getting great odds for them to win that one, and then maybe actually follow up a good performance with another win. Although you never know with this team. And one more thing I like is, well, Tatum, I don't necessarily expect to outscore Steph. Right now, for him to average 25 in the series, about minus 102. And he's averaging 22.3, and that includes the 12-point game in game one. I don't think he's going to go below 20 at any point. I think he's going to get over his prop, which we talked about in the props video, at least 28 points in this one, and probably throughout. So I think he will come to play, and he will start to try to put the C's on his back in that sense.
Yeah, no, that all seems fair, and it is just a case of, are the Celtics going to throw up all over themselves or not? So that's why I feel better betting on them, is just because the Warriors need more to happen. The Celtics just need to do their thing. They really control. I would say it's in their hands, in the sense that they're, like I continue to say, they're a better team, and it's really going to come down to how they continue to play in the fourth quarter, which they've got a pretty good rating in this fourth quarter, in the finals, in the fourth quarters that they've played. I mean, it's because in 2 games that they won, they played really well in the fourth. In the 2 games they didn't, they did not. Really not. So that's, but the fact that they're even, it means that they are sort of beating the Warriors in the fourth quarter by the same amount that the Dubs are beating them back in these wins. So it really just comes down to the same thing. And we go, you just got to put your money on what you think will continue to happen in this specific game. And the trends would say the Celtics will prevail and utilize their strength that they have over the Warriors in this one to pull this one out. But there's still so much that you can bet on here to find some value, as we're having a ton of fun. Thank God this is the NBA Finals, man, especially after some of those conference finals. This is a beautiful series that hopefully will go 7, and we'll continue to be there with you through it all. So do like and subscribe to that page, and check out that props video and each of these finals videos and props videos that will bring you the rest of the way. So until we see you next, happy betting.